Good evening. Today is Thursday, December 12th, 2019, 6:30 p.m. I now call the Fairfield City School District Regular Board of Education meeting to order. Mrs. Lane, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Begley?
Here.
Mr. Birding?
Present.
Mrs. Gundram?
Here.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Here.
Mrs. Shorter?
Mr. Begley, will you please lead us in the pledge?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Begley. First item on our agenda is presentations and resolutions, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Birding. Mr. Birding, members of the board, we do have one presentation scheduled this evening. We're happy to have members of our equity leadership team join us this evening for our annual equity progress presentation. They will be providing the board with an equity progress report. Before I turn it over to some other members of our team, I'd like to begin by sharing the mission and beliefs of our equity plan. The mission is teaching our children and ourselves to live, learn, and work together in a vibrant and diverse world. Followed by our beliefs, a strength of the Fairfield City School District is our expanding culturally and educationally diverse population, and all children can learn and achieve to their full potential. And I love the fact, if you notice the word all is in bold there. We often speak about our focus on all of our students and serving each of them as individuals. So I love that part of it. At this time, I'll turn it over to one of our co-chairpersons, Mr. Dennis Williams.
Good evening. So before I kind of dive into some of the numbers in terms of how diverse we are, let me kind of do a quick introduction on myself. So I got the opportunity a few months ago to come and stand in front of you and accept the responsibility as co-chair as Lawrence Jones transitioned out into a committee member. Really large shoes to fill. Obviously, Lawrence has a number of relationships, and not only in this community, but across the city of Cincinnati. I've known Lawrence for a number of years, so I'm really excited to see what level of thumbprint I can put on the committee as well. From a community perspective, I'm a parent in the district, have a middle school child, a 7th grader at Crossroads. She actually came up through North Elementary under the leadership of Denise and her staff. My wife is a class of 94 graduate, so years ago when we actually were looking to start a family and looking into educational opportunities for our child, she was an advocate for Fairfield. And one of the discussion points that we had around what was important for us when we were looking to figure out educational opportunities and what district made the most sense, because at the time we were actually residents of Coleraine, so we're in the Northwest School District. We talked a lot about obviously the educational path, growth opportunities, but we wanted to also ensure that our child had a very good opportunity to have a diverse and rich cultural experience, recognizing that the city in which we live and the country in which we live is ultimately a melting pot of different cultures, ethnicities, sexual orientation, so on and so forth. So as we had that discussion, even though my wife was a very proud advocate and member of the Fairfield community, I felt like definitely it was the right thing for us. So understanding that this opportunity from an equity leadership team perspective was an opportunity, it definitely matched ultimately where I'm passionate and where my wife is passionate as well. So again, just wanted to give you guys some background on me and express my gratitude in being here this evening. So a little bit of the numbers. I won't go through every number on the page here, but just to kind of set some context and reinforce anything, if anything, what Billy kind of set the stage with. What you have in front of you is a breakdown of enrollment year over year, starting in 16 up through the 18-19 enrollment period. And just a couple key call outs I'd like to reinforce. So if you look across a couple key student groups, Asian or Pacific Islander, Black, non-Hispanic, and Hispanic, what you see is roughly a consistent plus 2% year over year increase in that demographic region, as well as what stands out to me is also a plus 3% increase in economic disadvantage. And what ultimately that spoke to me as I was looking at the data is, again, it just reinforces the need for Fairfield to be very purposeful and focused on not only diversity and inclusion, but equity and reinforcing that potential at the student level from a educational opportunity standpoint. So just to kind of set the stage in terms of the numbers, if you go on to slide 4, one number that was on the previous slide that I'll just call out was that 15% of the total population being including students with special needs. A number of programs throughout the district support those students with those special needs, but of note, roughly about 450 students are on a 504 plan, and roughly about 1,500 students have individual education plans or IEPs. So just again, setting some context in terms of how diverse we are as a population. So I will now turn it over to Denise to further introduce the group as well as reinforce the pillars.
Thanks, sir. Good evening, board. Great to see you all tonight. Hello, everyone out there. Just to let you know, I'm Denise Hayes, for those of you who don't know, and I am the principal at Fairfield North Elementary School. I am very excited, and I do have to say that I am very honored as well to be a part of this committee. I have been a member of this committee since my very first year in the district 6 years ago. I have students that are here, my very own children. I have 2 students that go to Fairfield, one in 10th grade and one in 7th grade. And I just feel so honored to be a part of the leadership that's leading this district forward in making sure that each and every one of our children here have opportunities that are opened up for them wider than the year before that they were here. And I feel like our mission and our purpose of this particular program and this group, we are doing that every year. It's been so exciting for me to watch how we've grown and all of the things that are opening up for our students. It's just fantastic. So I do want to let you know all of the members who are on our team. Some of them are here, so if you could just give a quick wave if you are here tonight. Again, I'm the co-chair, Denise Hayes, and Dennis Williams spoke with you previously. We have Tracy Ashford, who is a guidance counselor at the high school. Mandy Ogg, who is our curriculum and instruction. Gina Gentry Fletcher, our director of school and community relations. Kathy Gilbert is our director of special services. We have Lawrence Jones, who is a parent who has also been a leader and a chair of this committee in the past. Mr. Roger Martin, who is our assistant superintendent. Katie Post-Pischel is the coordinator of secondary and curriculum instruction. We have Billy Smith, who is the superintendent, and Gina Whitko, who is a parent. One thing that I can say about this group of people is that it's a diverse group, and we do have a lot of diverse perspectives that sit around the table. I feel like we do have representation from all levels, not just people that work in the district. I can say that we do have folks from the administrative team, we have folks that are from the buildings, from all different levels, but we also have parents, and most importantly, we have students. And we do have one of our students, 2 of our students that are here today. We have Madison Walker, who is a senior from the high school. We have Miss Kennedy Baker, who is a sophomore. And Jabari Ashford is walking through the door now. Hi, Jabari. And also my son Todd Hayes participates, but hasn't been able to come because he is also involved with CDA and is a part of one of the mentorship programs that we have, so he wasn't able to attend our last meeting. But again, this group of people, it's just so dynamic to watch all of the perspectives and the conversations that go into it, because I feel like they're all so passionate in making sure that we're able to knock down those barriers and have some of those conversations that are going to create opportunities and a feeling of belonging for all of our students in the district. So just so you know, in terms of the equity leadership team, there are 4 pillars through which we function. And the first one, Pillar 1, is run by Mr. Roger Martin. And the job of Pillar 1 is to recruit, hire, and retain teachers, administrators, and staff of color. And under that, we have another committee that's called the DRRC. I don't want to get too far into explaining what that is because we are going to have an in-depth explanation from Mr. Martin, but I just wanted to let you know that that's what the focus of Pillar 1 is. Pillar 2 is designed to increase cultural awareness of all students, teachers, administrators, and staff of the Fairfield City School District. I'm really, really excited about the movement we've had in regards to Pillar 2. I feel like our professional development has really taken an upswing in this area. And the thing that I think is so special about it is that it really requires our staff to have some courageous conversations, because some of these areas are so delicate when we're talking about sexual orientation or people's ethnicities or people's beliefs. It really takes trust and building community. And I think that our district is taking great strides in making sure that we have those opportunities to have those crucial conversations with small groups. And when those small groups have those crucial conversations, we can then take those conversations back to our staffs where some of that trust already exists. So I think we're making great strides in those areas. In terms of Pillar 3, which is run by Gina Gentry Fletcher, we are trying to increase community engagement and parental involvement. And I have to say, this is another one of those areas that I'm truly extremely proud of. Sometimes when you're doing this type of work, some of these subgroups are the groups of people that feel like they may have been shunned in the past, or those folks that feel like maybe they've not had such great experiences with school in the past themselves, for whatever reason. Maybe there was a language barrier, or maybe they felt that their economic status made them not so much a part of the school. But we are really working hard to get those folks involved with what we're doing in the school and let them know that they matter. But the thing that I'm most proud of with Pillar 3 and the work that we're doing, for those folks that have been reluctant to come to us, we are finding ways to get out and get to them. And I'm sure that when we talk about what we've been doing, when we get to that focused conversation about this pillar, you'll see some of the things that we are doing to get ourselves out into the community to reach those folks, to let them know you are a huge part of what we're doing here at Fairfield City Schools. And every decision that we're making, we are focused on you and letting you know that you are important and that you add richness to our environment. Lastly, Pillar 4 is designed to increase student engagement and learning opportunities, to emphasize the value and importance of the participation of diverse students in all curricular and extracurricular activities. And honestly, I feel like we are devising more and more opportunities than ever, all across the board, from our elementaries all the way through our high schools. So I think as we get through the PowerPoint today, you're going to be really impressed when you see some of the work that's going on. So I will turn it over now for the discussion of Pillar 1 to Mr. Martin.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hayes. I'm not sure when you said that I was going to do an in-depth presentation on the committee, how in-depth that's going to be, but thank you for setting me up for that. I would like to say that as the assistant superintendent in the district, there are quite a few jobs that fall under my job title. But I think that the one that I enjoy the most and find most meaningful is my work with equity, my work with the Diversity, Recruitment, and Retention Committee. It's my favorite work that I'm involved with in my capacity. So this is an exciting night for all of us. So recruiting, hiring, and retaining teachers, administrators, and staff members of color. I'm really excited to share this statistic. I'll be sharing quite a few statistics because I found over the years that if you don't keep score, you don't know if you're winning or losing. So we try to keep score. And this current school year, the 1920 school year, we were able to hire 12 new professional staff members in Fairfield City School District. And I'm really proud of that number because in my mind, one of the most precious and one of the scarcest resources in the state of Ohio are educators of color. The colleges in Ohio produce about a little over 400 staff members of color, teachers of color each year from all of our colleges and universities. And you figure that goes out into over 600 school districts and countless private schools. So everyone's vying for educators of color. So when we were able to hire 12 this year, I was thrilled, especially in the fact that we were able to hire 50 overall professional staff members. 12 is about 24%. So if we keep hiring 24% a year, our numbers are going to increase greatly. I'm thrilled with how we have increased in the 8 years that we've been keeping track of this. From 2011 to 2019, we've seen a 125% increase in our professional staff members of color. We've gone from 20 to 45. We've increased from our staff members of color being 3.23% of our teaching staff to them being 6.86% of our teaching staff. We don't want to stop there. We have a long way to go. I'm not finding that to be a place that we can rest or stop, but it's significant growth. When we developed a human resources department a few years ago, we got some additional help and we added more people to our diversity recruitment and retention team. And so we also started keeping track then of our staff members of color who are our support staff. And in the 3 years that we've been keeping track of that, we've increased from 85% in our support staff personnel, people of color. So we're seeing some great growth. We've got lots of strategies. Some of them are listed on the screen there. We are constantly evaluating, revising, trying to come up with new ideas to find new employees of color. And like I said, this is, I believe, our most precious and limited resource in the state of Ohio. So once we get them, we also want to turn our attention to retaining them, keeping them here in Fairfield. And so there's also a list of different strategies we're involved in to try to retain our staff members of color. The next slide, I want to wrong way there. There we go. The next slide shows the people who currently serve on our Diversity Recruitment and Retention Committee. We have 12 individuals. We added a brand new one this year, Jennifer Moore, who is a first grade teacher at West. This is her first year in the district. She was so excited to join us and become a part of this work. But I just want to give these people that are shown here a shout out this evening. They're the ones who work tirelessly all year long to help us create strategies and implement them so that we can grow our people of color and our as employees. People may wonder, well, why is that such an important mission for us? We live in such a diverse world. Dennis talked about that earlier. Some people think that this will only benefit our students of color to have teachers and administrators of color and other staff members. It helps all students. All students need to be able to work and get along and be able to learn from people from all different ethnicities and races. So it's important to all of our students. It's also important for our students of color that they can identify and perhaps see role models that would make them want to go into the field of education in the future. And then thirdly, it's good for our staff. When we have people of color on the staff in a school, it changes the conversation within that school. People become more aware of cultural competence and different ideas that they're able to share. And once again, the teachers benefit from that as well. So we're thrilled with the work. I want to say thanks to this very hardworking committee. And all along, if anyone, I know this is televised, if any person of color out there would like to seek application or to work in our district, we welcome you. I encourage all of you to continue to share people with us that perhaps we can hire. We've got a lot of new strategies we want to try to get in place this year, but we've seen great growth in Pillar 1. I will now turn it over to Pillar 2 and Mrs. Ogg.
Good evening. I just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about Pillar 2. You know, much of the work in Pillar 2 happens day in and day out in this district. You know, working to remove barriers for students is very important work that our instructional leaders do in the buildings each and every day. making sure that our students are receiving very high levels of learning, regardless of their background or their color is important. That's important work that we do every single day in our buildings, making sure that students have access to materials where they can see themselves in those materials and those resources. It's one of the most important things that we do, and that work is something that has to be carried on each day, each week. Mrs. Hayes alluded to earlier that we've spent quite a bit of time this year doing professional development, and it's some of the most exciting work that we have done this year in regards or in relation to this pillar. So some of the professional learning that we have done as administrators this year has been around the development of cultural responsiveness, around multicultural awareness, and empathy. Back in September, we had a training with one of our very own employees around the LGBTQ plus community. We've also done training with the Anti-Defamation League this year, and we also have equity training planned with Butler County ESC coming up in January. Something else that we actually was implemented last year was something called Handle with Care. And this is, something that's supposed to promote empathy. If something happens to one of our students, the teachers can be made aware. They're not given details or anything like that. It's just a message like this student just needs a little extra care today. So I think all of that work, like Mrs. Hayes said, we are able to grow as a leadership team in a lot of these conversations, and then that work, of course, is taken back into the buildings. So, all right, this time I'll turn it over for Pillar 3.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ogg. We appreciate stepping into this role. She's come in new, and we've kind of hit her with a lot of initiatives, and she's done it like a champ. So we appreciate your work on Pillar 2. Pillar 3 is to increase community engagement and parental involvement. This pillar ties in with a lot of the work that we do with our Community Diversity Alliance and some of our district outreach programs. Some examples of the way that we are reaching out to our community is, and Mrs. Hayes had talked about this earlier, that we are going to them. We're finding them where they are so that we can better serve them. One example is the Back to School Bash that was held in August of this year, very first ever. Quite a success, and we're looking to build on that for the coming school year. Some of the committee members came up with a giveaway for winter hats, gloves, scarves, that sort of thing, and they had an overwhelming amount of family members that came and partake in free popcorn and all sorts of winter. We work with our English language learners, our ELL population, providing translation services so that when they come to events, they are served as well. And we encourage parents and community members to join our diversity work. So one of the things that we try to do is alert the community when we have these meetings. We encourage family members, parents, students to attend the Building Diversity Alliance meetings and to consider coming to the District Community Diversity Alliance. Another program that started this year was the Summer Lunch Program. So we did a lot of outreach with families. Children could come and eat from ages 1 to 18. So that was really a great step for us. And we're also looking again to build on that for next year. As of today, we just had a toy drive that was started here at the high school through the Students Against Destructive Decisions group here. It's an after-school club. Started out over a decade ago where the kids collected toys just through the high school, and it's grown to include the district, the entire district. So Today, they did a count, they collected all the toys, and we collected over 2,000 toys district-wide. So that was really awesome. And on Friday, they will be presenting those toys to the Butler County Department of Children's Services for foster children. So that's an awesome way for our families to get involved and our students to get involved. One too many, too fast. One of the things that we've noticed also with how we can reach out more to our community is we want to serve our English language learner population, or our ESL population, because it is growing. Dawn Hildreth, who is our coordinator of the ELL program, provided the following statistics. English language learners are more than 11% of the Fairfield City School District population. 10 years ago, the population was 438 students, and we now have 1,120 students. That's amazing growth. That's about 150% growth over a decade. We are trying to do some things that we can engage this population of families. Most recently, our high school teachers and tutors created a student-led conference night. The students participated, had ownership of their success. They worked on improvement plans, and it was just a great night, very high participation, something that they'd like to see again next year. They had an ESL information night at the beginning of the school year just to provide translation services, things like that for new families. What to do if your child is sick, here's who you need to call, this is the email address that you can use, that sort of thing. Just the ins and outs of coming into our school district new and not being familiar with the language or how we operate as a school district. Our students also recently took a visit to Cincinnati State, so we are trying to introduce opportunities for the students that can happen after they graduate, after they leave us. That college is an option. They were able to meet with people who looked like themselves at Cincinnati State. So they were very excited about that. And you can see on the slide that there's some pictures that illustrate that visit, the student-led conference night, and the ELL information night. I'm going to turn it over to myself for Pillar 4. Katie Poshpischel could not be here tonight. I do not handle this pillar, but I'm going to try my best. One of the things I would like to do, Kennedy Baker is one of our students who participates on the equity leadership team, and she has graciously offered to come up and share her experiences, both as an ELT member and also just her engagement and her involvement in the school community. So Kennedy, if you want to come on up. And while she's coming up, I'll read the pillar to you. It's Pillar 4 is to increase student engagement and learning opportunities, to emphasize the value and importance of diverse student participation in all curricular and extracurricular activities. And we follow the premise that students who engage in curricular and extracurricular activities are more likely to display a positive attitude about school. They'll increase academic achievement, and it'll strengthen their school pride. And we've seen that with a lot of the kids that have come through and participated on our committees, whether it be the Diversity Alliance committees or the ELT. So we're very proud of Kennedy and Madison and Jabari, who want to wave. I don't know if you got a chance to wave so that people could see you when you came in. They do bring a lot of insight to the committee, to the meetings. They don't just sit there. They give us a lot of things to think about. So without further ado, I'm going to let Kennedy come on up to the mic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kennedy Baker, and I am a current sophomore at Fairfield High School. And this year, I was elected to be a part of ELT, which stands for Equity Leadership Team. And I was chosen for this position because I'm an active leader at Fairfield High School. I'm a part of the Sophomores Class Council, Fairfield's Tri-M Music Honor Society, representing for the orchestra division. as well as the Cincinnati Youth Symphony Orchestras. And I am also a part of the National Junior Honor Society, and I am a big sister and a mentor, a part of the Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization. So, what does ELT in particular really stand for? So, ELT stands for, once again, Equity Leadership Team, and this group is consisted of students, administrators, and faculty who are just really committed to learning about the needs and all the necessities for students, which I thought was extremely important. And we meet on a regular basis to basically address all of the issues concerning diversity within Fairfield's district, including especially the high school. And my job as a student representative is to actually go up to students. It's actually a really awesome way to engage with other students from different backgrounds, which other times I really haven't had that opportunity to do. So that's what I really love about being a part of ELT, is being able to really engage with other students without, well, really just throughout the district, really, not even just so much at Fairfield. Because once I volunteer at Big Brothers Big Sisters, I also get to talk to little children who will tell me the exact same thing that occurs at the high school, which I think is a really eye-opening experience. And once again, yeah, at these meetings, I just go there and I present the issues and any concerns that students have throughout the district. And I tell all the representatives of the pillars what are the issues occurring. And I love how they're just able to go in immediately and take effective actions and really just have a strong dedication to diversity within Fairfield School District. And once again, I love being a part of Equity Leadership Team. Even though this is my first year, I thought it was just amazing to be a part of this organization. I remember when actually the organization began in 2011, and I was actually just in first grade. And my mother, Katrina Q. Baker, right over here, actually went to the meetings and participated. And I would see Mr. Roger Martin actually at the elementary schools. And I would ask my mom, I was like, who's that man, Mom? He seems really nice, who's that man? She would say, I'm a part of diversity meetings with him. And I was like, diversity meetings? What's diversity meetings? And the older I got, the more I was able to sit in on those meetings. And I loved how I was able to see it grow throughout the years. I just thought it was amazing just looking at it in first grade and not knowing really what it really meant. And then now, at the age of 15, going on 16, now I truly understand what diversity is and the importance of it and the value of it, at which it can add to a school and its district, and as well as the students and faculty, et cetera. So I feel as though that's really important. And once again, just to close, I think being a part of ELT has really helped me share my voice this year, because high school is a time where we as students find our voice. And I think Equity Leadership Team has really allowed me to find that voice at such a young age, in which others don't really have that opportunity to. So I hope for ELT to continue in its great works, and that we allow these opportunities to be shared for other students as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kennedy. And I completely forgot that Kennedy's mom, Katrina Keybaker, was one of the originals who sat in on all the planning before this diversity plan was approved by the board. I am going to also introduce our other two students who are here, Jabari Ashford and Madison Walker. Come on up. They're going to share a little bit about their involvement in schools and how their participation in extracurriculars and curricular activities has shaped them.
Hi, my name's Jabari Ashford. I'm a senior at the high school, and I'm the son of Tracy Ashford. I just wanted to say that I'm also part of many different activities in the school. I'm including like football, AXO, BSU, or Brothers Sisters United, and NHS. But the thing with ELT is that I get to be a part of a committee that which creates a solutions for equity and creates change, and I get to actually like just be a part of that team, and it just means like a lot that I get to see the change and like see see what's really happening in the school, and just to see like the transformation that like occurs, and just to see that like I was a part of something that that might have changed something or helped somebody in the future for like our community. And I'll definitely be like taking that into the future with my like into college, into my careers, being a part of a group, or even starting it myself, just something so that I can make that change and create those solutions so that like everyone and everybody around me is just better off for it. Thank you.
So my name is Madison Walker, and I'm a senior at the high school. It is my second year with an equity leadership team, and I just want to say that I love the opportunity to have my voice heard along with my peers, and it's just an honor to have been chosen to help represent the diverse student body at Fairfield. And I'm involved in National Honor Society, Senior Class Council, AXO. I was previously involved in orchestra for 5 years. And I just love how I'm also in Asian American Association. And I just love how many diverse organizations and how many fun activities they have at school, so much that it's like you can just pack your schedule day to day, and there's always something fun to do. So it's just something to look forward to when you wake up every morning and you make new friends, and it's amazing to go to Fairfield where I have the opportunity to do so many different things.
Thank you.
So as you can see, we're very proud of the students that are part of our organization or our committee. On the slide, you'll see some examples of what all of our schools are doing to engage best practices for our pillar. A lot of the opportunities are there. This is just a short list, but there are a lot of opportunities, so it's not a complete list. I'm not going to read it all to you, but it is in your packet, and this will be posted on the website so that the community can really see what our kids are involved in. But like I said, we're very, very happy that we have student representation because they are truly the reason we're here, to make it better for them and to make it better for our staff and our school community. And I'd like to now turn it over to Mr. Smith to conclude.
Yeah, just a few closing points and some comments I'd like to share before turning it over to the board. Number one, the diversity plan is a work in progress. So you've often heard us talk about the fact that this plan is very fluid, and that's one of my favorite things about this plan and this work, and that feeds into the next point. It's fluid because it needs to be as we continue to adjust to the changing needs of our kids. And so as the needs of our students change, our work changes. And that's why it's necessary for this work to be so fluid. It talks about at the bottom, we'll continue to provide professional development for staff on real-world topics to increase awareness and to help build and strengthen relationships with all students. And Mandy referenced some of those PD opportunities. Most of us up here have had the opportunity to sit in on those professional development sessions, and they have been very powerful. Some of them led by our own staff members that we have in the district, so those have been outstanding. One thing I'd like to say a couple special thank yous to Dennis and Denise for their leadership, leading our committee, and then also all of the folks Roger mentioned, some of the people on his subcommittee, but also the individuals, and not all of them are here this evening, but those meetings are very meaningful. But I especially want to thank our students for their participation. And you've heard me say it before, when students are a part of the conversation, it takes everything to a whole new level. We've been very pleased with our discussions and the things that we've been able to do, but there were just students bring things to our attention that we just haven't thought about. And we wouldn't recognize some of the things that we need to be talking about it if they weren't willing to show up to the meetings and not just be present, but also participate and to be a voice. I think one of them mentioned appreciating being able to have a voice. And I just want you to know that we hear your voices and we appreciate your voices. And I want to encourage you to continue to attend and be a voice for your peers. We appreciate you. And lastly, I want to thank our Board of Education for your support of this plan and this important work that we do. And we look forward to seeing what the future holds for our committee. Thank you.
All right, any questions or comments from the board?
I'd just like to say, keep up the good work. You guys are all doing fantastic. You're excellent examples of student leadership. I'm very impressed, very proud. I know all of you. I've known you all for a while, so I can definitely say these are excellent students, excellent character, hardworking, great examples of what Fairfield produces. So thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Yeah, diverse student participation in all curricular and extracurricular activities, including school board meetings, right? So, I don't know if that's what you bargained for, but I appreciate you being here tonight. You all did wonderfully. Just echoing what Mr. Smith said, your participation is paramount in what we're doing here, right? There's much work to be done, as Mr. Martin spoke about, but your involvement and your feet on the ground and knowing what is going on within the walls is very important to the program. And I would recommend our senior, Jabari, find another person as you leave the school to fill your spot and continue that. That's great. And I was blown away by your statistic, Mr. Martin, that only 400 graduates are available for all the districts in this entire state. And you found 12 of them. And you've been working hard at this for a number of years, and that's great. Well done.
I would just like to add that I'm on the Diversity, Recruitment, and Retention Committee, and it too is one of my favorite committees next to the ELT, because you can see the results. And we all believe in the work, and it's been key. It's been really key and important. And I always say this every year, that because we have this plan, it's one of the reasons that I wanted to come here to work. So.
Anybody else?
I just want to thank you all for all of the work you're doing, and it's so interesting to see the best practices that are already in place and see how this is working in the real world and in the schools, starting at the elementary level. It's really, really interesting to see, and you should all be proud of the work you've done. And the students should be especially proud. If I had to give a speech when I was a teenager in front of a bunch of adults, I'd be shaking and sweating and stammering all over the place, and you all nailed it. So, great job.
I also want to thank the students. You are truly our future leaders, not only of our schools, but our community and our nation. And I was just so very impressed by your words tonight and how they hit home. I remember the early days of the CDA with Kathy Milligan and how far we've come. We're just baby steps, and I think we have great leadership with Mrs. Hayes and Mr. Williams. I thank you both very much. I know this is incredibly passionate for you to work with it. And it's interesting, I was at a conference last week, and they talked about inviting students into staff meetings so that staff can hear the issues that are going on. I'm like, yeah, we're already doing that in Ohio, so congratulations to the team for doing that. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Okay,